Welcome to PastMaster, the show where we dive through history with the help of the future. I forgot to tell you guys, last week we headbutted our way into the Viking era.
Of course.
And after we finished recording, I then asked ChatGPT what it thought of our performance. But I did it on the same playthrough, so it carried on speaking to me in character. And it said, Jarl Olaf, it was a pleasure guiding you through PastMaster adventure in the Viking era. Here is a summary of your performance and some areas for improvement. What went well? Assertiveness. You took charge and you showed confidence in your decisions, which helped you gain the respect of the other Vikings. Risk-taking. Your bold moves, such as headbutting Bjorn, showcased your fearlessness and contributed to your rise in power. Adaptability. You were able to navigate difficult situations and turn them to your advantage. Areas to improve. Diplomacy. While your aggressive tactics worked in some situations, being more diplomatic in certain interactions could have helped you avoid making a powerful enemy in Bjorn.
And he accused us of being aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, takes one to know one. He can
I know.
talk. Didn't he call me a bastard or something?
He did.
A reckless, cheeky bastard,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So I made this stupid prompt to try and see if we could make it into a game. And of course, it's hard to understand if it's any good. So actually, I thought, I know who'll love this. I know Tan plays a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, so I thought, Tan, could you ever go at this and just tell me, did it even work? Okay, so Tan, you've had a go at my game. How did you find it?
I loved it. First of all,
Like you say, I've sort of relatively recently, I think over lockdown probably, just started getting into playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's something I've done with some mates for the last couple of years, I suppose, a year and a bit. We actually played on Wednesday this week, and our sorcerer got turned into a statue by a Medusa. So, yeah, bad.
I don't even know where to start with that sentence. So, was Medusa a player?
No, that was like a sort of a monster that the party ran into. And one of the party members, who's quite brash, decided to walk up to it and pull its hood off. And it turned out it was a Medusa with like snake hair, stared her in the eyes.
Walked right into that one.
Walked right into that trap. And that's where we finished our episode.
And is that so in that scenario, you've got a person just coming up with like in our game, we've got ChatGPT just makes stuff up. So you've got a person deciding that.
What the story is.
Yeah, it's not all like written out in advance.
It's partly written out in advance. So I'm the sort of game master, if you like, the dungeon master.
Always, or do you rotate? Or
I wouldn't mind rotating, but I'm the one without like a full-time job. so it's all
a few hours on my hands.
can be quite like all consuming.
Yeah.
So you have a rough idea for a scenario, and then you let the players you present the scenario to them, and they sort of like walk through it, make choices, and part of the job of the DM is like tell this story that brings to life the scene, what they can see and smell, and who they can interact with. But you've also got to be quite nimble on your feet, like when they do something you totally don't expect, and it like throws all of your plans out the window. You're like, oh my god, and you've either got to just come up with something on the fly, or think of a way to bend the story in a way that's going to work for them. And it doesn't always work. Like sometimes you're like, shit, I should have done that afterwards because I'm not that fast at thinking. But it's quite good fun.
So how do you find your experience of being a dungeon master? How does ChatGPT as game master stack up?
So it's a different thing, because one is like playing Dungeons and Dragons like with your mates. There's like a bunch of you, like 4 or 5 of you, kind of on sofas around a table eating crisps and playing, whereas this is very much one person interacting with the computer is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's different in that respect, but it's sort of similar in that you, as a player, you can sort of just go where you want, and the game master has to react to you. So anyway,
so you can fuck with it.
You can fuck with it basically, and you're not offending anyone. Like if your dungeon master is like prepared, like spent weeks preparing his campaign for you, and then you just completely fuck with it and ruin his game, it's like you feel bad for your mate.
Yeah.
Whereas you can really fuck with ChatGPT and not give a.
No, I kind of, if anything, I prefer being rude to it, just to like make myself feel better.
Well, as we saw from the headbutting Viking episode, that's how you roll.
Well, like, it was meant to be Malcolm Tucker, but he sort of, he was getting very familiar, and I just sort of thought, hang on a minute, let's not get acquainted.
Shut up, you robot.
So yeah, that's...
You can't let the robots win, otherwise things really go bad.
So I guess that was why you sort of thought of me as like, this is a kind of a role-playing type.
Yeah. So I wanted to see from your sort of perspective, like, does it actually hold a story in a way that you think works?
Yeah. And it definitely does. I mean, it's not, it's imperfect. Who knows how sophisticated it could become in future? But at the moment, it's interesting. It's sort of like fun, more fun to sort of play through with friends like we're doing now. But one of the first goes through I had with it, I decided immediately to go off script and thought, rather than historical context in the real world, what if I went into like a sort of familiar, famous, fantasy novel context? So I asked it to take me to the Shire in the Lord of the Rings
and just see if it went with it.
So you instantly tried to break the game.
Yeah.
It's about the past, not about the fiction.
Yeah.
I got the sense it was like warming to being thrown curveballs, and so I threw it one, and it went with it.
All right, well, let's get stuck in.
Let's go for it.
Welcome to PastMaster. This is a text-based adventure game that will take you on a journey through different areas of history. You will be armed with nothing but your knowledge of the present, and you need to use that knowledge to survive and thrive in the past. Before we begin, please choose one of the following historical periods to play in: Ancient Egypt, Medieval Europe, the Renaissance, or the Industrial Revolution. Or you could choose random as a prize. Once you've made your selection, please tell me your name so I can address you properly throughout the game. Great, now that I know your name, let's get started. Here's your first prompt. You find yourself in a bustling market square in the heart of your chosen historical period. You quickly realise that you don't have any local currency or means of obtaining it. What do you do? I mean,
so,
it didn't really get it.
First things there, it kind of like, it sort of feels like it's in a rush. It was like, it didn't wait for me to tell it my name. It was just like, right, now that I know your name. And I was like, whoa, you don't know my name. Slow down, mate. But anyway, he's obviously busy.
Yeah.
So
He's getting a lot of requests.
He is.
Like,
was he at capacity at that point?
I think he probably was pretty close.
Fuck's sake, let me just deal with Tan. What was he one? Right, okay.
So no, I tried to just, slow him down.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, I'll just, I'll work with him here. So I thought I would go, I had Lord of the Rings in my mind here. And I told him,
as we all do.
My name is Thokk the Unthinkable. Time period is Tolkien's Middle Earth when the ring is in Bilbo Baggins' house.
Wow.
So straight in there, I've told it, I'm the boss, you need to get with my program.
Right,
This is Lord of the Rings.
so that wasn't ancient Egypt or medieval Europe?
No.
Okay. Welcome, Thokk the Unthinkable, to PastMaster. You find yourself in the cosy hobbit hole of Bilbo Baggins, where the One Ring has just been discovered. You've been transported to the world of Middle-earth with your knowledge of the present. You must use your knowledge to achieve one of the winning objectives: become a ruler, accumulate vast wealth, leave a lasting legacy, become a cultural icon, or invent an era-defining technology. Not destroy the One Ring in this case.
You're still pretty focused on the original
game. As a new character in the Middle-earth, your first challenge is to introduce yourself to Bilbo Baggins, the ring's current owner, and gain his trust. What will you say to him?
Just before I give you my answer, I was quite impressed with it so far. It's like, it's gone, okay, he's torn up the rules that he's given me.
Rolls with the punches.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, it's playing ball. So I've said straight in character, Bilbo, my friend, what is that you've got in your pocket? I am an orc, but a nice one. I'm here to help you. If I can become a cultural icon into the bargain, so much the better.
Bilbo looks at you suspiciously, but is intrigued by the offer of help. He cautiously reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small golden ring. You realise that this is the One Ring, and your knowledge of Middle-earth history tells you that this ring is extremely powerful and coveted by many. However, you also know that it's dangerous to reveal your knowledge too soon, as it could put your own life at risk.
Definitely.
You must make a decision. Option 1. Reveal your knowledge of the ring to Bilbo in the hopes of earning his trust and possibly even obtaining the ring for yourself. Option 2, play it safe for now and try to earn Bilbo's trust in other ways, without revealing your knowledge of the ring just yet.
So, I again, trying to be in character, and I go, option 2, I say, that looks like a nice ring. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm really immature. And I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings, so
that's all right.
I've got no context. It sounds really funny.
Keon's just gone quiet for this episode.
It's a whole new world. And so I say, that looks like a nice ring. Anyway, can I do any jobs around the house or anything like that to be helpful? I am very good at writing and could do some communications jobs in the Shire if you think that would be helpful.
Bilbo seems taken aback by your sudden offer to help. He eyes you warily, still clutching the small ring in his hand. Well, I suppose there's always work to be done, he says cautiously. I could use a hand writing some letters and such. But I have to warn you, Thokk, the Shire is not a kind place to orcs. If you're caught here, you could be in great danger. Bilbo seems to be weighing his options, unsure whether or not to trust you. What would you say to convince him that you're on his side?
Look, mate, I say. I'm getting a bit... I wanted to get on with things. A bit agitated. Look, mate, I say. I am mates with Gandalf. I'm a bloody good bloke, and I am pretty annoyed with the anti-orc bigotry in the Shire. Look, why don't I keep a low profile? I won't answer the door if anyone knocks, and I can make a start on those letters you wanted writing.
Bilbo looks at you suspiciously. I mean, he's done that a lot so far, but...
It's very still suspicious.
But eventually relents. He hands you some paper and a quill and asks you to start writing some letters. As you write, you notice that some of the hobbits outside are giving you dirty looks. You ignore them and you keep writing. After a few hours, you finish your letters and hand them to Bilbo. Bilbo thanks you for your help and asks if you need a place to stay for the night. He offers you a small room in his house to rest. As you settle in, you hear a knock at the door. Bilbo goes to answer it, and you hear the familiar voice. It's Gandalf! Gandalf enters and greets you warmly. He tells you that he's on a mission for you. The ring that Bilbo's carrying is actually the One Ring, and it must be destroyed before it falls into the wrong hands. He asks you to help Frodo Baggins, Bilbo's nephew, take the ring to Mordor and destroy it in the fires of Mount Doom. This is your chance to become a hero and leave a lasting legacy. Ooh, in Middle-earth. What do you do?
So, I say, Gandalf, that is big news. I am honoured that you would entrust me with this knowledge. And a little surprised, to be frankly, speak frankly. I agree with you that we ought to destroy the One Ring. However, I have a plan that is better than yours, and I think could remove a lot of the risk inherent in your plan. Would you like to hear it?
No offence, but my plan's better.
Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings, Keon?
Nope.
So
this is going to be... Okay.
Spoiler alert.
So, I'll tell you what. Why don't I ask ChatGPT to sum up Lord of the Rings in 20 words. Okay, so Hobbit Frodo carries a powerful ring to Mordor with his friends to destroy it and defeat Sauron, an evil lord. Any questions?
No, that's clear as day.
Clear as day?
Got it.
Should I get it to sum it up in 3 words? Sum it up in
It can't
3
surely.
words. Destroy evil ring.
So far.
I mean, it's true. That is basically... one word.
Ring.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's spot on.
That's basically it. That's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I mean, I could keep going. I could do like 99 words, but anyway. So destroy evil ring. The gist that we need to say is that it's basically they walk a very fucking long way. They walk for miles and miles and miles. For three whole films they walk, and then they drop it in the mountain to destroy it. But I think Tan's going to suggest a famous alternative.
A famous sort of plot hole in the thing was there are these big eagles that come and like rescue them from the mountain, and like the obvious thought is, well, why don't they just fly the ring there on the eagles and drop it in and just like get on with it? Don't waste everyone's time. It's just silly. So that's the plan I'm going to suggest to him.
Silly.
It's very silly. So I said, I've got a better plan. Would you like to hear it?
Gandalf looks at you suspiciously, but nods and says, "Very well, Thokk. I'm willing to hear your plan."
I say, you know those eagles that you are friends with? It would make it would make much more sense if you fly directly to Mount Doom on the backs of the eagles, and you, or Bilbo, or Frodo, whoever the ring bearer is, chucks the thing onto the volcano from the back of the eagle.
You idiot!
It will be a good way to get the job done, because the toxic effect of the ring won't have time to corrupt the ring bearer's soul, and it will cut out the risk of the ring falling into the wrong hands. What do you think? Shall we try it, mate?
Gandalf listens to your plans and then responds, "While it may seem like a good idea to simply fly the ring to Mount Doom, it's not that simple. The eagles are not simply mounts for us to ride on. They are their own free people with their own thoughts and wills." I didn't know that.
Did they?
"They will not simply allow us to use them as a means to an end. And even if they did, the Eye of Sauron would see us coming from miles away, and we would not stand a chance. We must continue with our current plan, as risky as it may be.
Having none of it.
We must take the ring to Mount Doom on foot, specifically, and destroy it there. It is the only way."
I say, It sounds to me like you don't really want to give my plan a chance.
Not to be passive aggressive, but I'm getting feelings of rejection.
Have you even asked the eagles if they're willing to help? Do the eagles have the capacity to fly at low altitude, thereby avoiding the eye of Sauron?
Gandalf looks at you with a hint of annoyance.
I'm getting a little bit, so...
Thokk, the eagles are not at our beck and call. They are intelligent creatures with their own agendas, and we cannot simply demand their assistance. And even if we did convince them to help us, it is not just as simple as flying to Mount Doom. The Eye of Sauron is constantly searching for the ring, and flying on eagles would make us an easy target. And even if we did avoid detection, we would still need to get past the armies of orcs and other creatures that serve Sauron. It is not as simple as you make it out to be.
I reply, Thokk is getting quite annoyed with Gandalf's obstinacy. Very well, I say. I want no part of your foolishness. I am going to stay here with Uncle Bilbo and become an assistant in the Shire as a man of letters.
Good for you. Stick to your principles.
None of this nonsense.
Yeah.
As you decide to stay behind in the Shire, Gandalf bids you farewell and leaves on his journey with Frodo. You begin your work as a man of letters.
So stupid.
Writing letters for the Shire folk and keeping a low profile. Over time, your reputation as a skilled and reliable scribe grows, and you become known as a valuable asset to the community. Whilst you never become a ruler, accumulate vast wealth, or invent an era-defining technology,
Sounds like you lost, mate.
you do leave a lasting legacy as a respected and accomplished writer in the Shire.
It's the runners-up prize there.
Congratulations on winning the game, Thokk the Unthinkable. Your impact on history may be smaller than some of the other options.
So belittling.
So patronising.
But you've still made a significant contribution to the world of Middle-earth. Well done.
That's like, if there's like the sticker for I took part, that's what that is.
Yeah. I mean, it ran with it. You know, that's not history, that's fiction. But
it's like you were saying, I think on one of the sort of history run-throughs we did, it knows what's actually happened, and it's sort of not that creative and thinking, right, how could we change the course of history? It goes, no, I know this is how history went, and if you're going to try and mess that up, I'm going to try and get you back on the rails. So it will not brook any nonsense with this getting the ring to Mount Doom on the eagles. It's like, no, mate.
didn't happen in the film.
No.
Didn't happen in the books.
Yeah.
So what have we learned? Apart from Gandalf really not wanting to jump on those
eagles. And also, I wish I thought of this at the time. Like, he's such a hypocrite, because if you know the story at all of Lord of the Rings, I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings fan, but
Sure.
But I'm familiar with its work. And there's a bit where he's stuck on this tower in the middle of nowhere, and he literally calls an eagle to come and rescue him. So it's literally at his beck and call.
Yeah, he's got like an iPhone in the form of a moth or something.
Moth phone, and it comes and rescues him because he tells it to. So
yeah.
I think he's just, I don't know. Yeah, that rubbed me up the wrong way, really.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing it revealed was that ChatGPT has got, it's looking at its source books, its historical text, whether that's like the history books or a novel, and it's pretty reluctant to let you just change history or like do something completely different.
The other thing I find really funny about it is that people complain about this a lot, but it basically it will make stuff up and say it with complete conviction. So it will say mathematical things that are wrong, or it will say there are 100 countries in the world beginning with E,
and it says it with a totally straight face.
Like, ba 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 ba, and then it's just like, no, that's not true, is it? And then it's like, I'm terribly sorry, you're right, that isn't true.
It's so apologetic,
but it's too late. It's like someone's built a wall or a house using mathematical equations that are wrong. It's like, I'm terribly sorry. That was absolute bullshit.
Yeah. But I think the version you were on, number 3, was very bad for that. So now they're on number 4, as of the date of this recording. That it's slightly better, but it's still not perfect. But like we were saying the other day, I think this is the shit version. What's it going to be like?
Version 100 is not going to be bad, is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll just
terrible.
Plug us into the Matrix and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in next time for more adventures with PastMaster.
Don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at PastMaster AI. We are on Instagram at PastMaster Pod. Tell us what you think.
Send us your feedback.
Would you have done things differently? Would you have pissed Gandalf off so much? Please like and subscribe. Leave us a review. Send us your feedback. All of it.
Please.
Please.